What's up guys? Welcome back to a brand new video. Today I'm going to be picking out my favorite covers of each series in my collection. I really like manga covers, don't really know much else to say about it. I just think they look really cool. And I just love, love a manga with a good cover. So today I just thought, why don't I just rank them through like which ones are my favorite. So yeah, without further ado, we'll go ahead and get started. Also, just a quick note before we get into today's video. Let me know down in the comments if you like this video or if you want to see me do a different type of video, because I want to be able to make content that people enjoy watching, that I enjoy making. So if you have a suggestion, please let me know. Alright, so starting off with Bleach, I have volume 8. The reason I picked this cover was because I think it's the most unique out of all the ones that I have so far. I have up to the first box set, so I don't have any past that, but as far as the ones that come with the first box set, I really like this one, especially because it has Zangetsu on the front, really cool. If you don't know much about it, then definitely read it and you'll see why it's such a cool cover. Next up we have Chainsaw Man. I have volume 4. So I know a lot of people would have picked volume 5 with the fight between Denji and the Katana Devil or the Sword Devil, but in my opinion, Aki is my favorite character in Chainsaw Man by far, and I really love the color blue. It's my favorite color. So just combining them both obviously makes a really cool title, but I also like all the little subtle things in the background of this cover. They have this like target behind him, which is really interesting. If you've read more, you'll kind of know why that's significant. And then he just kind of has the blood splatters on him. Pretty interesting. I just really like it and really like the way it looks. Alright, next up I have Die Dark Volume 3. This cover is just like so cool looking. Like I just love how like good it looks, especially with Shimada Death standing behind Zaha as he's like pulling out his axe, and the colors really pop. Love the red and the yellow, and then the black, of course. I don't know, I just really like the way it looks as well. Alright, next up I have 20th Century Boys Volume 8. This is another one that's kind of more unique than the other ones because all of them, you can't really see it, but they have these like text and it basically just says 20th Century Boys over and over again. But this one has like a little bit of a different text. It's kind of like the main villain like egging on the protagonist to like figure out who he is, which I think is like really cool. And plus it just looks so cool. Like the Friends character design is just such a really cool character design, so I just love that. Alright, next up I have Dorohedoro Volume 3. Not a whole lot of reasons I picked this one over the other ones. The main reason just being that Shin is my favorite character so far. I haven't read very far into it, but from the characters that I've met, I definitely like him the best. I think he has a really cool character design. I like the way he fights. And then, of course, I just love the way his mask looks. It's really good. So next up, I have Claymore Volume 6. Claymore actually has a lot of really cool covers. It was kind of hard for me to pick, but the reason I decided on this one was because I really love the shots with the main character kind of from behind, staring at this like huge monster, which is exactly what that is. And also I just really like the colors. I think the color purple really pops in this one. And other than that, it's just a really cool cover. So yeah, that's for that one. Next up we have Demon Slayer Volume 8. Ever since the Mugen Train movie came out, Rengoku has been my favorite Hashira, and honestly he probably still will be after I finish the series. But just like, you just have to watch the movie to know why. Like it's just so cool. I just love it. For that reason, this is my favorite cover, because Rengoku is my favorite Hashira. I just, it's so good. Alright, next up we have Goodnight Poon Poon Volume 1. So the main reason I picked this one was it shows Poon Poon as a kindergartner. And if you've read the manga, you'll know that like this was when he was probably at his happiest point in life, because he hadn't gone through like any major trauma yet. So I think the main reason this is my favorite is because I just know that that's when he's the happiest. Unfortunately, he goes way down as the volumes go on, but like, I don't know, just rereading this one and just seeing how filled with joy he is and stuff like that, it's just so nice to see before everything comes crashing down. So yeah, that's why this one's my favorite out of Goodnight Poon Poon. So now we have one of my favorite covers, period. This is Hell's Paradise Volume 9. I love everything about this cover. I love Cheyenne. He's my favorite character in Hell's Paradise, no question. Love the colors, love the pose he's in. I love how he's just like looking down with his sword partly drawn. I love what's reflecting in his sword. I'm not gonna say anything about that. But yeah, I just really like that. Probably one of my favorite covers in my whole collection by far. Next up, we have Fullmetal Alchemist Volume 23. Once again, I like this cover so much because Roy... Wow. Once again, I like this cover so much because Roy is my favorite character of the series. And especially this cover represents Roy's vengeance, that part of the story, if you know what I'm talking about. So I think just those two pairing together is just why this one is my favorite cover. Also, just the way he's standing just looks so cool and menacing. So yeah. Alright, so next we have Jujutsu Kaisen. I'm honestly kind of torn on this one because I can't decide between volume 11 and volume 14. So start off, volume 11 used to be my favorite cover. You know, Nanami is my favorite character. And I just love the way he looks in this cover. I think it's just a really great cover. And so this was definitely my favorite until volume 14 came out. And now let me tell you, this cover looks amazing. Just the way they have Sukuna drawn on it just looks so good. I love the little particle effects around his fingers and stuff like that. So it just looks too good for me just to pass up. So next up we have Kaiju number 8, volume 2. Only 2 options to choose from for this one. But I just had to go with this one solely for the fact that the color looks amazing. Like, I think the artwork on volume 1 looks a little bit better, but just the color of this volume just looks so good I couldn't pass up selecting this one. So next up we have Mashal volume 3. So I really like this cover because it's kind of the first time that our main characters really work together well as a team. I really like the arc that happens in this volume. I just like the way they all look together with their wands, and then Mash, of course, with his weights that he's just lifting. But yeah, other than that, I just think it's a really cool looking cover. Alright, so next up we have Monster volume 9. This one was kind of hard to pick, honestly, because they all share the same maroon background. However, I think I picked it because of the big portrait down at the bottom. I just think it looks really good with Tenma aiming down his gun, and then you have Johan's face kind of like looming above him. So yeah, for that reason I picked this one. Alright, so next up we have Mob Psycho 100 volume 4. I don't really know what it is about this one, but to me, I just think it's way cooler than all the other ones. They all are kind of similar, just kind of a picture of Mob just like standing there doing something. But this one is really cool because he's kind of like thrown underwater. You know, he's just kind of floating, and then the sun comes reflecting down from the top. And of course, I like the color. But yeah, other than that, I just think it's really well done cover. Next up, we have Promised Neverland volume 12. It's another one with really cool artwork. I love how Emma's face is kind of like blended with the sky. And then I love how her eyes kind of pop out with the nice blue. Yeah, other than that, I just like the way that this looks. Alright, next we have Spy Family volume 4. Yeah, so the reason I picked this one was because they had Bond on the cover. I think that's all I really need to say about that. Alright, so now we have Planet Test, and this is another one that I just could not pick. So we have the first one and the second one. Starting off, I think the first one looks really good. That was like the main reason I would have picked this one, is just because I like the way it looks better than the second one. Just love the lighting and all that. The second one here, basically this cover is an image from a dream that Hachi has during the story, and this is just a really good moment in the story. I really like it. So because this is like his dream and I really like what this represents, I just couldn't choose between the two. Next up I have Shaman King volume 27. So the main reason I picked this one was because most of the Shaman King volumes have a lot of color on them, but this one is just pure black and white, so I thought that looked really cool. I really like the art on the front of this one, so that's why I picked it. Alright, so next up we have Vinland Saga volume 5. So the main reason I picked this one was not because of the cover itself, just because of what it represents. I really like Thorfinn's development in this volume, especially there's just one thing that happens that I really liked reading about. So for that reason, that's why it's my favorite. So next up I have Akira volume 5. I love all the covers for it. They all look really good, but to me this one looks the best. Alright, next up I have the Tokyo Ghoul. This is the Monster Edition, volume 4. The main reason I picked this one was because A, it looks the coolest, and B, this is kind of when Kaneki really becomes the centipede, which is like a big deal. So that's why I picked this one, just because of what it represents and just how cool it looks, because it's by far the coolest cover of the Monster Editions, at least. So that about does it for today's video. Thanks for watching it. I really appreciate the support. Yeah, go ahead and comment down below what you thought about it, or what some other ideas that I should do. And with that, I'll see you guys later.